Hi everybody, this is Gijs again with another review and I hope you are doing well. This time it's a review about a tent. It is about the Big Agnes Copper Spur HV Ul3 Bikepacker. Now, because of its small size, it might be a bikepacking tent, but it also fits very nicely into a backpack. So it is also a backpacker tent. Now, if you are looking for a new tent for your backpacking or bikepacking adventures, then you should definitely watch this video. Enjoy! And welcome back to the review on the Big Agnes Copper Spur HV Ul3 Bikepacker. And this was the last time that I said the name full out, because now I'm just going to refer to it as the Big Agnes or the Copper Spur. That will make life much easier. Now, for those of you just tuned into my channel for the very first time, my name is Gijs. I am an outdoor gear reviewer, and sometimes I review bikes and gadgets like DJI drones or a DJI Pocket 2 camera, for example. And I do my work totally independent, so that means that manufacturers are not paying me for my reviews. Now, if you like what I do at the end of this video, then please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, because that really makes my work worthwhile. Thank you in advance if you do. Now, for those of you who follow me already a long time, thank you for joining me again, and I hope you like this video also, because if I read all your comments, you're quite happy with the reviews that I do, and many thanks for all your positive vibes. So now let's start talking about the Big Agnes Copper Spur, and I'm going to put it down because that's a little bit more easy for me. The Big Agnes Copper Spur, the history behind this one. I got this one from a guy in the Netherlands. He runs a rental shop. It's called hikershouse.nl, and he rents out Big Agnes tents. And he asked me if I would have a look at this tent, just to give him some reference. And I did this. This was about summer 21, so 1 year ago. And during the first months of testing, I was like, hey, this is quite a nice tent, so I should definitely do a review on this before next summer camping season starts. Now, the Big Agnes, of course, let's start with size and weight. And let's start with the stuff bag. The stuff bag in total, with the tent in it, it weighs 1943.6 grams. And I weighted this on my precise calibrated scale at home. Now, Big Agnes claims a weight of 1930 grams, so they are about 30 grams off. Well, off, actually they're quite spot on to my opinion. The pack size, I measured a diameter of 16 centimeters and a length or width, how you see it, of 33 centimeters. And this 33 centimeters in width, that is very important, because for bikepackers, people use it, they put this on the handlebar, and this is why this stuff bag is absolutely fantastic, because the three compression straps, they really attach nicely to a handlebar. Yes, I've tried this. With the package also come a couple of Velcro loops that you can use to put it somewhere else on your bike, but I really like the stuff bag. Now, what you can see that in the bottom part there is of course the tent, and on the top there is a separate pouch for the poles themselves. Now, why is this so small? Because the poles, which are from the Korean brand Duck, they are only, the pole sections, they are only 30 centimeters short. And that's why this can be so compact. And that is also why I say it's not only for bikepackers, because this fits actually precisely on top in my big Osprey backpack. So that's why I think this is a very nice tent for backpackers as well. Now, the name itself, the HV, it means high volume. And that means that the inner space in the tent is considered to the standards of Big Agnes high volume. There is a lot of space in it, but I'll show you this later. Then the UL, that stands of course for ultra light. Now, with the weight of 2 kilos almost, probably some people will say it's not a very lightweight tent, but for 3 persons, if you divide it, that 2 kilograms in 3, then I still think this is a quite nice lightweight tent. Then the 3, of course, it is for 3 persons, so that's where the 3 comes from. Now, let me get into the stuff bag and show you what's in it. Now I've taken everything out of the stuff bag and put it onto my very golden Ul3, my Thermarest self-inflatable mattress that still does the job very, very well, just to make it a little bit more visible for you. On the left we've got the Fly, and I weighted that on my precise scale at 611.9 grams. Then there is the inner tent. That one weighs 539.8 grams. Then the little bag with the packs, with some guy lines as well as an extra, and I weighted this one at 111.5 grams. Then there are the poles. I measured that one at 548.2 grams. Then here is something extra, which is a footprint that does not come standard with the tent. So I got this one from hikershouse.nl just to try this one out. That one weighs 325.3 grams. And the stuff bag itself, it weighs 132.2 grams. So if you add all these numbers together without the footprint, then you will have the sum of 1943.6 grams. A few notes on what I've lying around here in front of me. That is that the poles, they are the Duck Featherlights NSL greens, and the NSL greens means that they are anodized in a way that uses way less water than the traditional way of getting this anodizing done. So in this way it is a bit more sustainable. Probably the same for the pegs, but the pegs, they are aluminium ones, and as you can see, they are not that sturdy. This is, and maybe I'm giving something away already, but this is something that I would not expect from Big Agnes, because I've not been using these on rocks, just on sometimes high, hard ground, soil, because that was dry because of just a dry period, but they go bendy very, very quickly. Too quickly to my liking. For the rest, they've got pretty good grip in a lot of soils. Now, there's also one repair sleeve. So if you break a pole, just put this one over the pole section, put some duct tape around it, which you also should have with you on your camping trips, and then you're sorted basically. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you about this. I will get into the materials later, but first let me pitch the whole tent. Now, you've seen me pitching the inner tent. Now let me walk you through a few small details on this inner tent. Now, the first thing that I want to tell you is about the color coding of this tent. Color coding means that the bottom part of the pole, it is in this case red on this side, and it is silvery or gray on that side. And of course, color needs to be combined, so that means red on red, and these are the loops for the inner tent, but also for the floor. And this means that you can never ever make a mistake in pitching the tent. Just a matter of putting grey silver on grey silver and red on red. And it's also important because this is a symmetrical tent, but only symmetrical in this way, not in this way. So that means that this section of the pole to the middle is longer than that section on the pole from that end to the middle. So that's why you need color coding. The other funny thing on the outside of the inner tent is the fact that they made a helmet storage here. It's just a piece of elastomeric and you can put your helmet underneath this. I tried it with a bicycle helmet, I also tried it with a climbing helmet, and it really, really works, which I think is absolutely cool. Like I mentioned, the poles are like a sort of a spider with the body in the middle and two legs going to the front and two legs going to the back. And yes, I know a spider has more legs. Now the third pole, it crosses this over this side from the entrance to this entrance. And it goes over the other two poles with a clip in the middle, because now this is all pulled together and that makes the construction a little bit stronger. On that end there is a sort of a ball connected to the pole itself, and that goes into a socket. A very nice, easy construction. Now this is what I wanted to show you basically on the inner tent for the moment. And now it's time to put the Fly on top. With this last one in place, it's time to talk you through a little bit of the details on the fly. And let's start over that side again, because what you will see here is that again, it is a color-coded tent. Now the next big thing is of course ventilation. And the big Agnes has got one big ventilation opening on this side. And as you can see, there is this little pole with a piece of Velcro. You can fold it back, and like this you can close the ventilation opening, and like so it is open again. And it is quite nice weather in the Netherlands, so let's keep it open. This is not the only one, but now I'll have to move to the other side of the tent again, because over here there is of course a zipper from the door, but this is a two-way zipper. And if I open it a little bit, it's a little bit curved, then you can open a little bit of the tent fabric of the door here, which is still covered by a piece of fabric of the fly itself, and this will give a little bit of ventilation. Now let me close it again, because there is one thing that I really need to show you when the weather is a little bit more windy than it is at the moment. And then you'll have to come to this way, and I might need to take this one off again to show you this in a proper way. Because over here, now I'll have to take this clip away, and what you will see is that there is this piece of Velcro. Now this piece of Velcro connects to the other side to this loop. And note that on the loop and the storm line there is reflective material. So when you attach this one to the pole, the fly and the pole are connected together, and you get a more windstorm rigid resistant tent. So this is important when there's a lot of wind. Most of the time I did not need it, because well, I've not had any really bad weather, to be honest. Now let me put that one over there again and put this one back in order. Now I think for me it's time to put everything that I have in my backpack and a little bit more in the tent, and I will show you how life with the big Agnes copper spur is like in real practice. Now, and in the time that I basically built everything, look at this, the sun has come out. I'm not sure for how long. So let me grab a cup of tea. Almost empty. Let's take the tea bag out. Hopsa. If you're wondering, I did a review on this one as well. A link in the description below. Many links that are maybe useful to you. Not only on this one, but also on the backpack that was in the background. The Osprey Kestrel, on my pants. Maybe later on these shoes. Now let's continue with the big Agnes copper spur. Of course, what I need to talk about is material. The inner tent, this part and this part, but also the fly. It is made out of a ripstop nylon. And ripstop nylon means that it is basically a nylon fabric with cross threads in it. And these cross threads have a thicker diameter than the main fabric. So when you get a puncture or a hole and you tear it, that it only tears until basically those stronger cross fibers, cross yarns. Now in this case, and this is quite special, the fabric of both, it is a 15 denier yarn for, let's say, the gray parts, and here the little bit more gray parts, the darker gray parts, but the cross yarn, which is the black part, it is a 20 denier yarn, and 15 denier is lighter than 20 denier. Now this means that because both are combined, I'm not really sure what kind of fabric this is. I would say because the main part is a 15 denier, it is a 15 denier lightweight fabric. The good thing about the cross yarn, the 20 denier yarn, is the fact that it is solution dyed. And solution dyed is a different way of dyeing a fabric, because most fabrics, they go into a bath to say it very bold, and then they get a color, and that means that most of the time it is on the outside and it is very water intensive. With solution dyed, what happens is that with the manufacturing of the nylon yarn, which is basically being pressed into a very small hole and then you have yarn, it's not spun, the color is added to that process. So that means that the color is actually inside the yarn. It's a part of this yarn. Now, this means that it is a color that will last longer there. It will not fade away as soon as some other colors that are with a normal dyeing process. But it also means that it saves a lot of water in the process of manufacturing this fabric. Now, I asked Big Agnes, solution dye, is it stronger or is it less strong than a traditional ripstop nylon fabric? And he gave me an answer, and this is, I quote what Big Agnes tells me. The yarn, the solution dyed yarn, is about 10 to 12% more stronger than a traditional yarn. In total, it means that the whole fabric is about 20% stronger than with a traditional fabric, nylon ripstop fabric. But this is what Big Agnes told me. I've not seen lab tests, so trusting them on their blue eyes, I don't know, but it's all that I have got to work with. So this is about the fabric of the floor, the tent, and the fly. The footprint that I'm sitting on at the moment, that's keeping my bum free from the moisture in the ground. The footprint, it is made out of a 30 denier ripstop nylon, no solution dye here. What is important to know is that on the outside of the fabric there is a water repellent layer, so that water beads off quite easily. That is when you have condensation inside your tent and it falls from the fabric on top of here, or when you like to camp out without the fly on top of this tent, because that is possible with this tent. Well, it doesn't get that wet. The fly itself, it is on the outside, it has a silicone coating. I believe this one is a silicone coating too, to be totally honest. I'll put this somewhere in the screen at the moment. Now, on the outside there is a silicone coating. Again, that is also there that water beads off easily. So that means that when you wave the tent, when you need to go away, that water will fall off immediately. On the inside, the fabric is coated with a polyurethane coating to make it 100% waterproof. That is what I wanted to tell about the fabrics of the tent. Now, of course, this is a very fine mesh, and we have been camping 1 month in Sweden with mosquitoes and tiny, tiny, tiny midgets. They are not nice, and those tiny, tiny midgets could not get into the tent until the moment that, but you won't see it now, at the back of the tent there is a little trail of tiny holes, and I think that a cat has been crawling up the tent because there was some food in here. Not very clever. Now, this was on the fabrics and the materials and the dyes and the thickness of the fabric. Now let's go into the tent, because I want to show you what this HV, this high volume from Big Agnes, really means. So let's dive in the tent. Now I'm curious how this is gonna work out. Okay, good. Inside, cozy, cozy, cozy. The interior space of the Big Agnes, it is a 3-person tent, and you will see that I put 2 mattresses in the tent and 1 sleeping bag, because if I put 3 in them, you won't see the difference. Now, this mattress is facing head that side, this mattress is facing head that side, and this mattress, that is your imaginary mattress, is facing with the head also on that side. And they are mummy model mattresses, because the sizes of the tent, that part in width, it is 150 centimeters, and this is something that I measured. On that side it is 1 meter and 73 centimeters, so foot end, head end. But I've noticed that if you do it like this, everybody has got a little bit more space, but still 150, 173, for 3 big people it is quite narrow, so be aware of this. I slept in this tent with my wife, and my kids spent about 3 weeks in this tent. With the 2 of them, it's an absolutely perfect 2-person tent, because then you can have some luggage on the inside. You can put your backpacks or your panniers inside your tent, so you've got a little bit more living space under the awning. The height, no, the length. I'm almost forgetting the length of the tent, because it is 2 meters and 20 centimeters in total length. My sizes, they are a little bit different from the ones from Big Agnes, and especially the length. Big Agnes states a size that is quite some centimeters bigger. I'm a small guy, 1 meter and 69 centimeters. My wife is almost the same length. My daughters are almost the same length. So for us, 220 in length is absolutely fine. Now, what we do like about this tent is the headspace. It is 110 centimeters. And Big Agnes claims 109, so it's actually a little bit taller in this case, and which is, I think, absolutely nice. And because of this middle pole, you know, this one, the cross one, you've got a really nice airy feeling in this tent. And also because all light fabrics are used, it is a very roomy tent to be in. You never have this cramped feeling. We all as a family agree on this fact. And now I will need to take the GoPro, because I need to show you some details. And let me put it on. This is the DJI Pocket 2 that I was talking about. I use this one a lot. It's a very handy gimbal camera. You see, it's a very small gimbal. Did a review on that one as well, and this is connected to my phone at the moment. And both are connected to a big power bank. So the question, is the DJI possible to be charged and shooting with a power bank at the same time, which DJI says it's not really wise to do? Yes, it's possible, and I do it all the time when it's not too hot. That was a sideline. Now, let me continue with the tent. I said already in the beginning that there is a lamp, because there are many loops that you can use. I think there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 loops in total, if I did count correctly. So that is a lot. So you can do really nice lighting if you want to. Now, on the top, you will see also that there are triangular pockets. It's one bigger one, it's one smaller one. And there you will see that there is this headphone symbol, because, I don't know, there is this hole, and it's a hole and you can put a wire through this. But why would I have my headphones in there or my phone in there? Well, my headphones are below, and I think nowadays a lot of people, they don't use headphones with a wire anymore. But it's nice because you can put some little stuff in there, like a small power bank, which is on the other side at the moment. It was powering my smartphone a little bit earlier. And here it's a big pocket that you can put, for example, a pair of socks in that is drying at the moment. Now, that was on that side of the tent, and now let's go to the other side. Oh, I'm forgetting one thing, because next to the P2 you see that there is a pocket for your glasses. That's what I use it for, and it's on both sides. And since you're sleeping in this tent with 3 persons, it's a pity that they did not make one basically on the middle part, but it's just not there. Now let's continue to the other side. No pockets on the lower end, but there is one huge storage system over here. Now, and this one, it has proven to be absolutely gold, because we throw everything in that big pocket the whole time. So this is a very clever thing of the Big Agnes copper Spur. And now the sun has come out, absolutely wonderful. Let me get a little sip of my cold tea with some animals. Now without. Still pretty nice. The door. I've totally missed the doors until this moment. It's got one zipper that goes up to here, and it goes one zipper below. This one always slides very easily. This one in the beginning, it has a little bit of a, well, trouble is a big word, but let me take it. It sometimes has a little bit of trouble on getting around the bend, with a little bit more humid weather especially. But now it's absolutely fine. What I do like about the door, by the way, is that it is really wide. So even if there's one person sitting here, the other one can still sit next to you, if you're not that big. The door itself, it can be tucked away with a nice loop and toggle system, but there is also a sort of loop, which I like more, because like this, I don't need to use the toggle system, because I don't especially like the toggle systems on this tent. And I will show you the one above me, because I did it really neatly in this way. But the toggles and the loops they are made of the same fabric as the tent material. And there's not any stretch whatsoever. And the toggles themselves, they are quite nice with bare hands, but with a little bit colder hands or wet hands, they are not that nice. And getting the toggle around the loop, if you've got big fingers, I can't imagine how that must be. It's just not that user-friendly in my opinion. Now, but what is absolutely user-friendly is the fact that, because if I don't want to use the toggles, what I can do is simply take the fabric and use the daisy chain that is on top of the tent. And I've never seen a tent with a daisy chain, but like so. This is the quick and dirty way of getting the door out of the way, and you don't have to use the toggles. Now, since this is a symmetrical tent, what I show you on this side, it's actually exactly the same, of course, on the other side. Now we're talking about the doors. One thing that I should show you as well is that, yes, it has two zippers. And now I'll have to use my socks. Let's do it this way. It's outdoors, like so. There is a nice cover on the zipper itself with a little piece of Velcro to make this neat. This one as well, same story. Also a cover with a piece of Velcro, and I already showed you this little piece of ventilation. And since it is sort of dryish, let me do this on my socks and tell you a little bit about the ventilation. Because the ventilation on this type of tent and big Agnes, I'm not sure if they call it this way, it is a high-low, low-high ventilation system. Because the main fabric, the fly fabric, does not go all the way onto the ground itself. So what happens is air will go in here. And because this is mostly colder air, because the warm air is higher, what happens is warm air goes up into the tent. Now, I've shown you this ventilation opening already, and what you will see also is that this is the more steeper part of the tent, and that is the more, I don't know how you call this, less steeper part of the tent. So when you pitch it when it's windy, I would advise you to pitch it in this direction, because this is basically the wedge that the wind will flow over it more easily than against this part. I've noticed that the tent is quite wind resistant, by the way. When wind comes from this direction, the warm air is pulled out of this ventilation, and also from the smaller ones over there and on the other side. And in this way you get a nice flow of air in the tent. Now, I mentioned already that the tent is wind resistant and weatherproof, it's waterproof. And I also mentioned the storm lines. There are 4 on every pole, basically. And when you use them, you need 4 pegs. When you buy the tent without the floor, the footprint, then you get 8 pegs. But with the tent, you need 4 pegs. And then when you use these as well, because they are there. Because of wind, you need to tie them down. The weather is not windy at the moment, so I don't need to. Then you need 2 more pegs. So now we are having a total of 6 pegs. What I don't get is that because of that point and that point, I need 2 pegs more. So that's in total 8 pegs. So if I go out and I need the storm lines, no pegs left anymore. So before you head out into whatever country, buy extra, better pegs. And I would advise you to buy at least, not 8 plus 4 is 12, but I would advise you to buy about 20 and make them super lightweight, because this tent has got a nice extra, which I will show you later, because I still need to talk about the doors. Now, the doors, I can open this part in total. I can open this part, leave that part closed, do it like this, and use the toggle system again. But since I'm not a very great fan of this, I'm not going to do this. I need to do this like so. And now, what I also can do is I can take this one off, open it, use this toggle, and now when I am going in the tent, with a lot of leaves by the way, and I am, for example, in Scandinavia, I can close this, and when it's not raining too hard, I can sit inside my tent and have a very panoramic view on the world in front of me. So I like this, and I'm not even sure if you can see me like this, because again, this very clever third extension pole, this actually is almost covering the entrance. So even when it's a little bit drizzling, you won't get too wet. But then you need to tuck this one under your floor of your tent, of course, because otherwise this will get wet. You will get a bathtub underneath your floor, and that is wet and cold. Now, the last trick of the doors, which I think is absolutely super. Because like so, with my trekking poles, or if you find any wooden sticks in the forest, then you can use the door as a wonderful awning. And this gives a really nice, sheltered feeling. Because now when it's getting colder at night, you won't feel the cold coming. When it's drizzling a little bit, you won't really get wet, when it's not too windy at least. Because I've noticed that the awning, because it extends sideways as well, it almost covers the whole opening that is here. And the best thing about this awning, that I'm sitting on the ground, but not everybody likes this. So what can you do as well? You can just sit in your camping chair and enjoy the evening in a very comfortable way. Now, because of the awning, of course, cooking underneath this awning is really, really wonderful. And this is one of the best features of the Big Agnes Copper Spur. Now, that means that I think I've said it all, and now it's time to head on to my verdict. How do I rate the Big Agnes Copper Spur? And I will say this once again. How do I rate the Big Agnes Copper Spur HV Ul3 Bikepacker tent? In the first place, I do like the pack size, because it is so absolutely small thanks to those 30 centimeter pole sections. The weight, under 2 kilos for 3 persons, I think that's absolutely fine, because if you are a couple, because I think this is a 2+ tent basically, this weight can be divided, or the other one carries a little bit more. I think it's absolutely fine. I love the awning, I love the way how the doors open, I love the ease of pitching the tent, I love all the ways that you can use this tent, the versatility. I like the inner space, because it is really a spacious tent, it feels really spacious, but like I said before, for 2+ persons. 3 persons, 3 big guys, girls, might be a little bit of an issue. Now, what I think that should absolutely be better, that are the packs that come with the tent, because I think that the quality is not in relation to basically what the rest of the tent is, not that high of a quality. And I think that maybe there should be one ventilation opening extra, because sometimes I noticed that in the early morning that the tent has got quite some it suffers quite a lot from condensation on the inside, and then maybe one extra ventilation opening can help a lot. Last but not least, the price. The big Agnes Spur HV Ul3 Bikepacker retails in Europe for €625 and in the US for $599.99. I think that is a fair amount of money to pay for a tent for 3 persons of these materials. That is also so lightweight, that packable and so very versatile. The fact that the packs are not that well and that it suffers from condensation just costs it a few points. And therefore I rate the big Agnes Spur HV Ul3 at 8.5 points out of 10 total. I really hope you enjoyed this review and that it is helpful to you. And if it is, then please give it a like and leave a comment below. And also, if you've got any remarks, questions or suggestions, please use the comment section, because I'm more than happy to answer everything that you can throw at me. Now, if you really like this video, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that really makes my effort worthwhile. Now, if you're not totally convinced after seeing this video, then please take a look at my outdoor gear favorite playlist in the link below and also up in the corner, and decide after seeing a few of my other videos if you want to subscribe to my channel anyway. Thank you in advance if you do. Now, for this moment I would like to say thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the outdoors and stay safe. Ciao, ciao! And what I didn't tell you, and that I'm still smiling, well, that's quite special, because I did this whole shoot this morning. It's now 4 o'clock. And I discovered that when I was looking at the footage on my laptop, because over there is my car with all the camera equipment and stuff, that I had 3 corrupted files. No footage whatsoever. So I had to do it all over again. And I'm still smiling. Bye.